Hi, Michelle.
Hi, baby.
We have a very special guest.
I mean, this one has me all.
Oh my God! If I could tell, if there's so much of my life, of my adult life, has been inspired by this woman. In fact, I got to tell you, it's part of my vernacular. Is everything she's in her movie that I don't even know I'm doing it anymore.
A big part of season 7, a big chunk
of every show we do has to do with. Now, of course, we know her as Cassandra Peterson. Yes, but you guys know her as Elvira is here. Oh my God, we're so similar too because we both have these characters that we're both drag.
We're a part of a very exclusive club. I think it's you, me, and Pee Wee.
Yes,
I don't know,
maybe. And Hannah Montana.
Okay. Hannah Montana. Okay. Is that a character?
Now, are you Cassandra or are you Cassandra?
I'm Cassandra. That and everybody goes, "Oh, Cassandra," but that's just what I was named. I can't help it.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Kansas. Of course, where they name everybody Cassandra.
Yeah, it's a very common name in Kansas.
On a farm. It was weird. It was my dad's ex-girlfriend. They named me after, and
really,
she was a
progressive mother.
Teacher,
yeah,
how'd
your mother feel about
right.
Yeah,
and she was foreign. They don't know from where. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why she said Cassandra. So
Cassandra.
That is a good point about the mother because nowadays.
If your husband
said I want to name you after my ex-girlfriend, I'd be like, what?
I know. Well, it was my mom's teacher too. So in high school, so I guess she liked her
justified. It.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So your dad went out with a teacher
My
at the high school.
Teacher. Yeah.
Is there a big age difference between your mom and your dad? Your mom and your dad?
No, there wasn't. There was like 2 years.
Was this a Mrs.
My dad dropped out of school. He was very, he was like obviously dating older women. I
Yeah.
guess, right?
I was going to say this is a graduate sort of
Exactly.
moment. Yeah.
What was she teaching
Mrs.
these
Robinson.
kids?
I don't know. I better ask my mom. I guess it was sex ed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So Cassandra, and why did you stick with your real name to enter show business?
Because I always thought it was a really good name.
It is a good name.
I always liked the name Cassandra,
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of people, like my daughter, she's like now she wants to change her name. She hates her first name. She wants to change it, and I'm like, okay, honey, whatever.
How
She's
old
got a
is
great
she?
name.
21.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I just always liked it. I thought Cassandra Peterson the thing about it is that when you see credits in a movie, my name is always the longest. It sticks out the most. So I thought, I should keep it that way.
Yeah. No, it's a great name.
love
It's just the only thing is if you keep your own name, it's on public records, like at the dentist's office or if God forbid there's a lawsuit, and people can find you.
I know. That's the only thing. You know what? I've had to put everything in trusts.
Yes,
do
that's
all
what
of
you do.
that.
Yeah.
because you have the same.
ID has not my home address.
Right.
And big pain in the ass. You're
It
right.
is. It is. Because
Interesting.
if I were to do it over, I'd use my real name. If I were to do it, I would not use my real
Really?
name. Nope.
People don't think it's your real name anyway.
No, they don't. But, but if it does end up on some public record, they go, oh, look who's here.
Right.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that happened to me. I used my real name when I started. I didn't realize what was going to happen. And I didn't realize there was going to be computers and you could find anybody anywhere.
Right.
I had my name in the phone book. When I became Elvira, the credits would run on the show and it was like Cassandra Peterson as Elvira. And next thing I know, my phone is ringing, morning, noon,
People were
and
looking
night.
you up.
Yeah, they were going on the phone book and they were, hey, are you Cassandra Peterson who plays Elvira? And I'm like, no, hanging up the phone. So I quickly had to change my phone number, get my name out of the phone
Make
book.
it unlisted.
That was the unlisted number. And I didn't plan on any of that stuff happening.
Wow.
So yeah, it was it's a big pain. And yes, I would say to any other celebrities out there, you might want to change it.
Change your name before you do it. Because especially in this day and age. But now before Elvira, and of course we're going to talk about Elvira.
Oh my goodness. How is your head?
Yeah.
Hey, if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But now, your acting career was way before Elvira because now with movies in Fantasy Island and those kind of things, that was before Elvira. Is that right?
It was, but it was still back in the day when you didn't have to worry about anybody really finding you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I just didn't I? Thought I got a part, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started acting. Finally, well, I started out dancing and then singing and then moved to acting when I was probably about 24, 25 years old. And I finally moved to LA and decided I'm going to act. I want to be a comedy actor. And that's when I joined the Groundlings and thought, this is the way to get there. I wanted to continue dancing. But when you get to be like 24, you're like old for a dancer.
Your bones are brittle.
Yeah, it's like, where am I going to go from here?
You were dancing in Vegas?
I was dancing in Vegas. Then I danced on a few shows here. I danced on the Sonny and Cher show.
Really?
The Tony Orlando and Dawn show.
My goodness.
Oh, my God.
So, right, because there were these dance companies, like the June Taylor dancers were on the Carol Burnett show. Were you part of a company of dancers?
No, I would just go on these big cattle calls for dancers. And, there'd be one of the choreographers usually that I knew from Vegas and stuff would be there. Joe Tremaine or
I know that name.
Jaime Rogers.
Oh.
All these guys, all these choreographers that I'd worked with that knew me, and and once in a while I'd just get hired. So it wouldn't be. It wasn't like back then. It wasn't like the Fly Girls where they had an actual troupe. It was just you went on a call, and if they were looking for that look and and everything.
And are you good? Because to be a dancer, you got to know how to count.
That's true. I'm terrible at counting.
So is Rue. But you're a great dancer.
I could dance, but it's not choreography. I just wouldn't, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you turn.
Yeah.
And then
I know that a little bit. I am not great at that. And to tell you the truth, I was never a great dancer. I just got by, I think, on, a showgirl is not a dancer.
She
You have to be able to
herself.
move, and you do have to be able to count, and you dance, but they don't want you hopping and jumping all over because your boobs are like flying around all over the place.
Right.
So it's they keep you pretty. Oh, look at your fingernails, my God.
Aren't they
Aren't
fun?
they gorgeous?
Yeah, yours are good too. Of course, nice and
I'm
black.
super short now. I feel
naked.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
And
sorry.
what show were you in Vegas? What hotels?
I was in Viva La Girls at the Dunes Hotel.
The Dunes.
Wow.
Oh my
which
goodness.
it was the Jewish mafia there. We loved it. It
Yes.
was fantastic. It was a really very classy hotel for a Las Vegas hotel back then. I'd say it was maybe the number one kind of classy hotel,
Wow.
which I don't know what I was doing there. But anyway, Viva La Girls was...
I love that it was called Viva La Girls.
Viva La Girls. I love that.
Yeah.
Who
it was,
choreographed it?
Several people. One who is still my very good friend, Jerry Jackson, who also choreographed the dance number in Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Oh, yes.
That little one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he did it, and another choreographer, Ron. I can't remember his name. That's been a year. But it was like the top running show in Vegas for many years. I mean, before I was there. And a year after I left, it then closed because
what happens? And I know of Jubilee, which I didn't get to see before it closed. But these shows like Viva La Girls, they would just be it would be an hour show, a 1 hour show, and they would play a track or they'd have a band, and they would just do music. Would there be a singer in the show?
Yeah, there was actually two guys. They were called Vest and Clark, and they became my very best friends. They were gay, of course. And they told me how to do everything, what to do, how to look, how to move, and they were the kind of the stars of the show. I mean, they had dance numbers and singing numbers with the girls behind them, without, and then there were little acts in between. Like they'll have
vaudeville
acrobats and
how fun.
Whatever. I got a singing gig finally in the show. I got one little number that I sang, which you can relate to this. A good man is hard to find. Yes, I sang that.
Did you write it?
Yeah.
I lived it.
We all did, exactly.
But it was called the lesbian number. And it was we came out in like black hats and suits, like a black gangster kind of suits, and danced around, and then little by little stripped off our necktie and our hat, and then everything got down to like G-string, and then kind of pounced on this girl. It was very like ooh. It's like for the
Taboo.
times it was like oh my God, nobody
Yeah.
could believe
Sure.
it. But I was not one of the pouncers. I was singing the song while they did that. So Yeah.
And so now this is Vegas before it turned into the sort of Disney version of Vegas.
Before
And
it
I think I
turned into
read
Universal. What do you call it? Walk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
City Walk.
Yeah.
City Walk. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Times Square now.
It is.
You know.
100%.
But and actually, you've got a book. You have a new book coming out. Does your book talk about any of this stuff?
No, that book I'm still writing. That's
Yeah.
going to take me the next 850 years. I've
or
been
not.
writing my autobiography forever.
Yeah.
This book, shall I show you?
Let me see it. Let me see it.
Let's see. It's not completely. I'm yelling. It's not
Oh,
completely
a
finished
gorgeous
yet. But
cover.
this is a 35-year
Oh my
anniversary.
God,
It's
how
all my photos
gorgeous.
of 35 years. The beginning there's a few pictures. There's about 20, but
Yeah.
the final product will have about 240 pictures.
Oh, I can't wait to get my
A
hands on
lot
that.
of,
Now,
which have
this
never
is
been
a big
seen.
book.
Really?
How much is this going to
It's
retail
a damn
for?
big book. $45.
That's all?
Yes, $44.95. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Wait,
And the
what was-
pictures are, I mean, look at the printing. It's
It
beautiful.
is gorgeous. Now, okay,
Oh
you
my
know,
God!
I think you're selling this thing too cheap.
Look at those
Oh,
pictures.
thank you. That's what they all tell me. Yeah, well, I don't know. That's the price we decided on. So,
And this
it's gonna
quality?
be a fantastic bargain. Yeah.
It's a coffee table book, but it's really thick, you
It's
guys.
Yeah,
very
I call
thick
it a
and-
coffin table.
A coffin table book. Now, do you remember who took the? Are these that Charles? Who was that guy who did all the L.A. shots of?
I have some pictures of
Not
from
Harry
him.
Langdon, but
Oh,
it
I
was
did Harry Langdon.
Yeah, Harry Langdon.
I didn't
and,
do him, but he took
well,
pictures of me.
gorgeous.
Oh, look how adorable I was.
just a child.
Oh, I know. I was actually 34 in that picture. I remember that picture really well. It's a bummer because I started Elvira when I was 30. I wish I would have started when I was like 20, right?
Yeah. And
These are sketches. You've heard of me talk about my friend Robert
Yes.
Redding, who passed away from AIDS,
Yes.
but he drew all my. That's not pictures of me. That's pictures of costumes
Right.
that he did. And in the book, we actually have his drawing of the first
of the original.
Elvira that we took to the station.
Did he create
that was
the
my
first?
very first photo I ever taken. Look at that.
You're
flat
No
kidding.
way.
Gorgeous.
Flat hair, right?
And now the
Flat
cheek.
boobs too.
Well, no, they're not
I was
really.
super skinny then. You
The
see how small
cheekbones
I
You're
are
was?
still at boobs.
The
I
cheek-
did, but I'm probably 12 pounds lighter than I got later.
Really? Now the
Yeah.
cheekbones, they come for your mom or your dad?
I think they're just painted on.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I really have them.
Wow.
I love seeing
Yeah.
progressions like that, where you start and then you see to where she is. People are today.
When's
I
the book
love
going to be
that.
out?
Fun.
When's
It's going to be out October 5th.
Oh,
Perfect
just in time for
timing.
your holiday.
Exactly.
Elvira season.
Where's it going
And,
to? Where are you going to sell it?
It's going to be all over. It's going to be at all the main major bookstores.
Yeah.
And, of course, you can always order it at elvira.com.
Mhm.
Gorgeous.
Or Tweeterhead is the company who also did your maquette.
Yeah, and
your
you turned
RuPaul.
me on to
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
which
and-
is so perfect. And we both have our pop-up stores over at Sweet Store LA, which is at Hollywood and Highland, and I'm sure the
know.
book will be there too.
It will be. And, of course, we do everything alike, including dressing alike today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we both wore our
Sort of-
white linen
Yes.
shirts.
I love it.
Now, so tell me this: will
I
this
know.
book be available for the iPad? Will you have an electronic version of it?
That's a very good question. I don't think so. As far as coffee table books,
Mhm.
generally are not. They're more like decoration.
Mhm.
They're
the
art.
One
Yeah.
subcategory of books that is still selling as well as they ever have.
Mhm.
The only category. It's really odd, but people like to put them on their coffee, literally on their coffee tables
Yeah,
or in their
sure.
as to say, "This is who I am. This is what I like." This
I
is what
love
I'm
those
into."
Yeah.
books, don't you?
Yeah, I do too. They're so beautiful. I was just thinking for as a electronic book just for references because a lot of people want to just be inspired, and I have lots of books on my iPad because I travel and I can't carry around all these
Yeah,
books
no, of
with
course.
me.
That's true, but-
so I get to do it that way.
I think it's different for the
Yeah.
visual. I hear what you're saying.
I
They
just
haven't gotten
say,
there yet.
Spend the $45, bitch.
Sure, no,
Okay,
it's great. But I don't understand why it's taking you so long to write your own memoirs because I've heard stories
Oh,
through interviews because I want to hear all these stories and we're going to talk about a little bit of that now. But your Vegas experience because I know that you at one point dated Tom Jones.
Yeah, God, yes. Oh, yes. Thanks for bringing
We
that up.
won't. We need to know things about.
I mean,
We need to know, Cassandra.
I'll never get rid of that story. So I have to write about. I did write about it in my book already. I've done that chapter. It's like, oh.
But that's part of the past.
It
you
is
know,
part
it's
of
the
It is
foundation.
part of the past. All these stupid things I did. I mean, half of them are so embarrassing, and it's sort of like one of the reasons I keep not putting this book out there, my autobiography, and writing it quicker, and I guess is like waiting for my mom to die. Because I'm going, if she reads this, it'll kill her. So,
or not. I mean, she seems like a pretty progressive woman if she names her daughter
the ex-boyfriend
after the ex-girlfriend of the father.
We'll see, but now I have my daughter to contend with on that level.
Well,
so.
that's true. They get more embarrassed than the parents.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you've had a very provocative career. I mean, Elvira's not a
shrinking violet.
No.
A shrieking violet.
And I
maybe.
never really was either. Before Elvira, I was pretty out there. I mean, a lot of times I say to people, my life got more boring when I became Elvira because then it was kind of I'm doing this, I'm just doing this. And I got married at the same time, so that'll seriously cool your jets.
So you got married at the same time as Elvira at 30.
I got the part of Elvira at 30 on my honeymoon.
Wow.
I got called.
So wait a minute, you got the part. So then if someone else gave you this part, do they also own Elvira?
No, because they actually didn't give me the part. They offered me to come in and audition for the part of Vampira. They were going to bring back the Vampira show, which had been there at the same station in 1956, I believe, when I was about 5 years old. And so they were going to, they had this huge library, KHJ did, because they were owned by
Metro Media?
RKO, RKO, General, who had tons of old horror movies.
Yeah.
So it was a good show for them to, to run on their station and like not have to pay any money for it because they had these movies. So they just wanted somebody to host them to get them out there at night. So anyway, I got called in. The director, Larry Thomas, had seen me at the Groundlings. So he asked a mutual friend of ours, would she be interested in auditioning for this part of this horror host. And that's when I got the call on my honeymoon. And I said, no, I'm not coming back for my honeymoon. I mean, when you're an actor and you go away and you try to have vacation, that's always when you get the part or the thing of a lifetime, right? This time I go, this is my honeymoon. This is not just a vacation. I'm not coming back. So a couple weeks later, I come back. And my friend, Donna Kaufman, called me and she said, they haven't found anybody yet. They're still looking. You should go in. And I go, okay, I'm back. I'll go in. And I think because he had seen me and knew that I had, an acting background, I think they were getting people just from coming in off the streets to audition. I really do. If you put an ad in the LA Times that says, wanted horror host.
Oh, I know what you're going to get.
Yeah, okay. I saw some of them coming and going there, Some of them actually lived in front of the studio. So I went in and I auditioned and I kind of improvised the script. And the next thing I know, he said, oh, you've got it. And it wasn't like, oh, thank God, I just got the,
the Elvira gig.
Yeah, the star.
And she was still called Vampira at the time?
Yeah, still Vampira. And, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to wear? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to act? They go, well, we love that character you do at the Groundlings, kind of like a Valley Girl, ditzy Valley Girl actress sort of character. Do that character, but you've got to come up with a spooky look. And I'm going, okay, those two don't go together whatsoever at all, but you're paying me $300 a week, so I will do whatever you say. Yeah. So we look, Robert and I tried to come up with concepts.
Robert Redding.
Robert Redding, who was my best friend. And he and I had been in a 70s like gay disco group called Mama's Boys. Did you ever know that?
No, Mama's Boys.
I was Mama, and I had 7 gay men, and we traveled around the whole 70s doing like gay discos. When the whole big gay disco craze was.
Sure.
I mean, we were always playing at places with like, oh my
cover
God,
band?
Well, no, people like. Donna Summers and Gloria Gaynor. And those people would be playing these.
Claudia Barry and
what's it? Sylvester.
Wow.
We were doing it then. And so it was me and these 7 guys, and we did singing, dancing, and comedy bits. just like a little
Your own vaudeville act.
Gay variety act.
Yeah.
And Robert was one of the people in the show. And
Just
that's
so many stories. And we're going to take a quick break, but we've got so much to talk about with Cassandra Peterson, of course, Elvira. I don't know where to start. I don't want to stop.
So
All right, we'll
much.
take a quick break. We'll be right back. And Michelle, let's talk about therapy for a minute. You know, I've had so much therapy in my life, and it's actually really, really helped me so much. It helped clarify things that baffled me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know where to go for a good therapist.
Well, that's the question, because we've talked about my evil therapist story here,
Yeah.
and you're scared and you just don't know. I don't know where I'd be without my therapist, and my children have a therapist that they rely on heavily. And this is what's so great about Talkspace. Now, therapy, it should be affordable. It should always be confidential and convenient. And that's exactly what our new sponsor called Talkspace is all about. So you get unlimited messaging. It's a dedicated licensed therapist, $32 a week.
That is brilliant.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And it makes it accessible. All these therapists are vetted, they're fantastic, and they're right there at your fingertips.
It's, and that's the thing, is a lot of times life happens.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to talk to someone. It's right when life is happening.
That's
you don't
it.
have to want to wait a week or something like that. That's why Talkspace is so important. And now you can even schedule a live video session with your therapist right from your smartphone.
Cool.
All right, for $30 off your first month, go to Talkspace.com/Rue and or download the app.
Yeah.
From the App Store. It is such a great deal. You agree, Michelle?
I do agree. And you can get the app, the Talkspace app. It's on Apple or Android. It's right there in your store. You know how to get it. And don't forget to use the coupon code RU.
We are back with Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, who's got a brand new book out. It's a coffee table book. It's called Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It commemorates how many years of Elvira?
35 this year.
35 years this year. And it's available everywhere. It's on Elvira.com and, of course, at all the retail places. And our pop-up shop, you sell the candy bar over at Sweet Store LA. You're right across from me. We
Right
have little
across the hall from you.
Yeah,
So-
it's fabulous.
It's so funny that
Well, our careers,
following
we've
me?
always, I am following you, but, we have always been two energy sources who we've always crossed paths. We've
That's
always
true.
followed each other. Weren't you on the VH1 show at one point?
I was.
You were.
I was, yeah.
That's
yeah.
right. Which was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I have a clip of it somewhere. Yeah, you mean the one that you were hosting?
Yes.
Yes.
Michelle and I were on that show.
You were there too?
Yes.
But I don't know if she was on before in the Cher Diana Ross.
No, she was on when we were out here in LA.
Oh, yes, of course, with Anna Nicole Smith.
Yes.
It was in
Okay.
LA.
Got it.
Yes.
Definitely.
So crazy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
But,
yes, because I have a picture of me by her Elvira hair, pointing at the picture, going, "Ah!"
That's right, because Matthew took it. He wanted to figure out how it was constructed.
Yeah.
So you gave it to Matthew, and he came into my dressing room and showed me.
Yeah.
Who constructed that hair.
The wig?
Yes.
Oh, God. Well, Robert first.
Robert Redding.
again, is the one who, he went down, bought the wig on
You were his
Hollywood
muse.
Boulevard
Yeah.
and fixed it, did it for me, cut it. And I tell you, when he died, I could not find anybody to do the wig the way he did it. I couldn't find anyone. And it
I got
was
a few
really
queens that could
kind
do
of
it for you.
creepy. Well, let me tell you, I kept giving it to one friend, a gay man who happened to do hair after another. And you're not believe, they all ended up dying. And then I would go to
Nobody
another
wants to
one.
touch your
And
wigs
then-
anymore.
Well, I got to a point where I stopped hiring gay men, and this is so ridiculous, to do my hair because they thought this freaking wig is cursed.
Right.
It is
right.
killing them. I am not having any gay men do it anymore. And I went, to hell, I find women hairdressers to do it from then on.
Yeah.
Now I have a gay man again. Now that
Still alive.
Plague
yeah,
is-
and
doing
he's
well.
still alive, and he's
Yeah.
been doing it for a long, long time.
Yeah.
My
Oh my gosh.
who does a lot of things for me. He's my webmaster. I think Christian Green.
Oh, yes, I know.
He's
what was
the
his,
Elvira drag queen.
Yeah, what was his Elvira's?
You're the Elvira dress queen,
Cassandra
darling.
Fever.
Cassandra Fever.
love
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes,
he does the
Cassandra
wig,
Fever.
and he gets it. He finally gets it. But boy, I went through so many people. So the wig is really. And I've tried so many different ways with it: fake hair, real
Yeah.
hair. Blah, blah, blah.
So what'd you end up
What
with?
is it?
You know what I ended up with? The long hair, which is had by 3 feet of German hair. Do you know how much that hair costs now?
I can
women
imagine.
don't grow hair anymore. Germans, Slovenian, nobody's growing the hair.
But if you sing a few bars, I can fake it.
You know that line. Oh Oh my God. Oh my God. And that, cop was my ex-boyfriend. That's so funny.
Oh yeah, because
in the movie.
Okay, wait. Let me stop for a minute.
Stoner. Oh, here we
Stoner,
go. One thing
because
to the
I have pictures of Stoner. I
bet you
collect
do.
pictures of Stoner.
Oh my God.
Now
you and so
Stoner,
many people.
Stoner was a cult model, but his real name was what?
Bill Cable.
Bill Cable, and he's the guy in Basic Instinct who gets killed by the ice pick in the first scene of Basic Instinct. And he's the cop in Elvira.
Yes.
And there's tons in Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the movie. There are tons of cameos in this thing of people who you know of. But okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. So Bill Cable, who's Stoner, he was a cult model from the magazine Cult, and the pictures.
And Jim French took a million pictures.
Jim French took a million pictures of him. He's a gorgeous creature.
Super gorgeous.
Who I think he passed away in a motorcycle accident.
He did. He had a big motorcycle accident long after we had broken up. But we stayed like really close friends for his whole life.
But he has other roles too. Like he popped up in all these different places. Talk about a story. I read about him on Wikipedia. But his sister was some. There was this crazy stories about him.
He's one of the most interesting people I ever met in my life. And first of all, I got to tell you about Bill and I when we met. We immediately were madly in love, and I moved in with them. I left my boyfriend and moved straight in with Bill.
And why not? When you see the picture of Stoner, you'll understand why.
You will totally understand why.
I'm going to Google it while you guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah. God. Anyway,
when I come back, I want to be Cassandra.
Not far above this studio, up in the hills.
Right. We're on Sunset.
Actually, on Hollywood Boulevard, which goes up into the hills a long ways, but over this way.
Yeah.
In a tree.
You lived in a tree.
I lived in a tree.
You lived in a tree with him. Well, if it were him, when you see a picture of him, you'll understand why you'd live in a tree with this guy.
Oh my God!
Is it one of the provocative pictures where he is nude?
Let me see. He has a lot of naked pictures floating around.
Oh,
was that him?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure that picture's not showing it, but I'm sure that's a nude picture. Well, that's one with his pair of jeans on.
But jeans, you see the bulge.
Oh, such a gorgeous man.
He looks like a porn star from the.
Well, he's kind of. He wasn't.
Sort of, but he didn't really
do porn. He just that's one of his famous pictures. That's a famous photo session of his.
So
right
Jim
sexy.
French.
That's a Jim French picture. Yeah.
Jim's a good friend of mine still.
Oh my God,
he
gorgeous.
Did the All Men catalog.
Yes.
You remember them?
All Men was
that was from them.
It was like International Mail. That people don't know what that is. I think they probably bought. International Mail probably bought All Mail.
I think they did.
Gorgeous.
Like these hot, tight jeans. Oh my God.
Now, okay, right? First of all, I'm going to just get back to Cassandra and this book of your daughter's side and your mother's side. These are stories of L.A. and the experience of Hollywood that need to be told. Yeah. And they're important stories. I get around go to parties and I hear things from people like, Lori Rodkin, who's Cher's best friend. And these people who have lived LA for years, they tell these stories that are so incredible. Yeah. And these stories get lost.
This really happened? Yeah, no, it's true. I hear
you've
stuff
got
from
to write
somebody
this.
that I'm just like, what?
Please. I love your coffee.
I'm working on it. And, I just went I'm always going to different writing seminars and writing classes just, so I can get better. I always have done that. And I went to one recently. It's called the Mark Travis technique or whatever. And he was great. And I rewrote a story from my book in it. It's about a pigeon. It's just a bizarre encounter I had with a pigeon. And I wrote it. And then with his technique, I rewrote it. And then I rewrote it. And it was night and freaking day.
Wow.
Really?
So now I'm going back to every story in my book and rewriting it because it was just so much more dynamic with this thing. In fact, it was so dynamic that somebody heard it at this thing, and we're now making a short movie out of this story.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. See, I wish that your book was coming out with the Elvira Mistress of the Dark coffee table. It would be a great accompaniment, to this. But I think it's got to be you got to make it a priority, especially after having taken this class, in this thing.
Yeah.
So,
I do. It's getting the time, right?
Yeah, it is. It's true.
And taking a book and sitting down, it's just like,
It does, but it's so worth it. Now I want to skip over to the movie. We talked about Basic Instinct and Stoner, but I want to talk about.
I have to tell you one thing about Basic Instinct. That scene in there that nobody knows when Sharon Stone was on top of Bill and she was stabbing him with an ice pick. Yeah, he had these bladders of blood on top of those fake bladders filled with blood that looked like his chest. Yeah, that she was stabbing, and her ice pick was going through them into Bill's chest.
Oh my God!
And Bill was screaming for real.
Oh my goodness!
And she wasn't stopping, and no one was stopping her because they thought, wow, what a great actor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw him like right after that had about the ice pick went in maybe anywhere from a half an inch to
Are you kidding me?
Yes, no, he had to go straight to the hospital to emergency. He was just bleeding everywhere. It didn't go deep enough to go into any organs or puncture his lung or anything. But he had these for the rest of his life. These big scars. So she's there.
She really was committed to the role.
She was committed to the role.
Yes.
Now you worked with her in King Solomon's Mine. Do you have scenes with her in
Alan
that?
Quartermain and Lost City of Gold. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's two of you. Made them back to back, right, at the same time.
Yeah, I was only in the second one, we did it in Africa, and that really weird thing happened. I was the antagonist. I was the main villain of the second movie, and we shoot the whole movie. For 3 months we were over there, and then I go back to the U.S. The typical Canon story.
Globus Canon, the Global Brothers.
Gollum and
yeah, right, yeah.
Anyway, they're wacky guys. They get the film confiscated by the Zimbabwean government for non-payment of taxes or whatever they owe them, and they have to reshoot huge amounts of the movie. I was not able to reshoot because it was October. They were going to reshoot it all year. So I already had commitments contracts I couldn't break. Yeah. And so they hired someone else to play my part. And so I'm in that movie I look like an extra. I mean, it's so
wait a minute.
It was sort of embarrassing.
In the second one, they have is it a body double?
No, it's just another girl that they gave my role to, just kind of switched it so I wasn't the main villain. This other girl was. So a girl that was already in the film.
I see.
Not a famous person, just another actor. So yeah, I'm always on the cover of that. And then you look at the movie and go, she's in it for about 2 seconds. Yeah. What's up with that?
Now the big story from that movie is that the crew members, Sharon Stone has a scene in a bathtub, and they hated her so much that the crew members all peed in the bathtub without her knowing it.
Yes, before she got in the water.
Amazing.
Isn't that brilliant?
I love those stories.
They loved her.
That's a true story. That's a true story.
Oh, it's true. It's true. Yes, I was there and I heard all about it.
And she was a diva even then, because this movie is it 86? No,
God,
80. Wait a minute. No, let's see. If Basic Instinct was 92.
Which one are we looking at? What movie?
Alan Quartermain.
The only Alan Quartermain I know.
I know is from General Hospital.
Thank you very much.
But this is Richard Chamberlain, who is a lovely man.
He's one of my oldest, dearest friends.
Really?
Just saw him. Yeah, I absolutely love Richard. He's just, I mean, really, I feel like he's a relative to me. We've been around each other for so many years.
Did you meet on the set of Alan Quartermain?
Yeah, we met there, and it was just kind
1987.
of love at first sight. We were, I think he and his partner at the time, and I were just like, oh my God, we just connected like crazy. Moved into the same room together. We just had to share a suite. It had different bedrooms.
In Africa.
Yeah. And just became really close friends and still are to this day. I just came back from visiting them in Hawaii.
Oh, that he still lives there?
Yes. He actually lives here in West Hollywood and in Hawaii. He splits his time back and forth.
Right. Because I actually ran into him on the street here a few years ago, and he invited me to see him in The Exorcist. Did you see that show?
Yes, I did.
He did the stage version of The Exorcist.
Yeah. Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah. Here
as the priest.
Yeah, Father Marin over at the Geffen Theater.
He's always on my mind because does anybody in this room watch Game of Thrones?
Oh,
nope.
Yes.
Jorah reminds me of him so much. You know, Daenerys' right-hand man.
Yeah.
If you think about it, every time I see him, it's Richard Chamberlain.
Like that.
Yes. That's all I see when I see him.
Yeah, no, Richard should be doing these parts too. He should be
amazing
playing like
yeah.
these parts. I mean, even though he's older, Richard,
still great.
But older, he's still a fantastic actor.
And then I know you knew Pee Wee from the Groundlings, so you're the biker chick in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah,
Big Adventure. You're the biker chick in that. Where was that filmed?
That scene was filmed in some little town right outside of LA, just out in like a nowhere land. I can't even remember where it was. It was just a little roadside biker bar that somewhere like about an hour outside of LA.
Because there's a lot of Groundlings of your class of Groundlings in that movie. Is Pee Wee one of your alumni from the Groundlings?
Yeah, when I was in the Groundlings, when I started, Pee Wee was in there. Paul Rubens, Phil Hartman, and John Paragon, who was my writing partner for 21 years, wrote Mistress of the Dark with me.
Yeah,
and oh my God, a lot of people. God, who else was in there then?
Well, Joey Arias.
Stewart. Joey Arias was in there. Isn't that a trip before? Before
was Joey Arias in the Groundlings also?
It was so bizarre. He was in the Groundlings, the very first group that started.
Oh my God.
Joey Arias?
Yeah, Joey Arias.
What?
Yeah. And then I know it's just so bizarre. And then I moved to New York a million years later. I'm living in New York. Robert Redding is working as a coffee bar girl at Fiorucci's, coffee bar girl, and he was leaving, and so he asked if I could take that part. And Joey was the person who hired me. Joey was kind of running Fiorucci's.
I remember the stories of that. I wasn't there.
Fabulous
Oh my
Fiorucci.
God! And that's how Joey and I met, and we were just immediately like loved each other. And but when he told me, I mean. Then later, I'm in the Groundlings, and he told me he used to be a Groundling. It was like what the hell?
Wow.
I never knew that.
So many stories. We're going to take another quick break, but we're going to get to the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, because it has infiltrated my whole being.
Yes.
And she knows this. We've talked about it. It's just a part of the fabric of our lives.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Cassandra Peterson. Let's talk about therapy. You know, therapy has been so helpful in my life. Vital. Yeah. And I've been doing it for probably, I think it's about 17 years now. I've seen the same woman. But, you know, I hear horror stories all the time. People don't know how to find a therapist.
You heard mine.
Yes, I certainly did.
Yeah.
And, you know, Talkspace is the solution for people who don't know where to find a therapist. Therapy should be affordable, confidential, and convenient. And that's exactly what Talkspace is. Only with Talkspace do you get unlimited messaging to your dedicated licensed therapist for just $32 a week.
So
now, there are other plans here. Can you break some of these down?
Well, this is how it goes. First, let me tell you how it works. So you go to Talkspace.com/Rue, or you can download the app. It's on Android. It's on Apple. Just go to their store. You know what to do. Then you're going to speak with a Talkspace therapist representative. That's where you're going to share who you are, what are your goals for therapy, all that stuff. Then you're going to pick a plan, because there are a few plans. Like, first plan is $32 a week. And like you said, it has unlimited messaging, being checked by a therapist twice a day, and a 10-minute live session. That's your first month. Wow. Then there's a plan for $43 a week. You get more. And then, of course, the third plan is $69 a week, and you get way more than that. You can even do live video sessions if you're a face-to-face type of person. So you go pick your plan, and you're going to be assigned a therapist that best fits your needs.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee, if you're not happy with that person, they'll switch you out until you're happy. That's what therapy is all about. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to find somebody. What about all the kids that listen from small towns?
Sure, exactly. No, and that's why life happens in all the time.
Yes.
Life is always happening.
Yes.
This affords you an opportunity to talk to someone at any time that you want to.
And you know that Rue and I are big proponents of therapy. We stand by it. We love it. So you check it out. $30 off your first month. Go to Talkspace.com/Rue. Download the app. And don't forget to use the coupon code RU. It's Talkspace.
We are back with Cassandra Peterson. Michelle Visage and I are, of course, obsessed with the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I want to ask you about that. But also, you know, during the period, I don't know if you were already doing Elvira or this was before, but like fantasy. I said the other night on Fantasy Island.
Yeah, this was before Elvira, way before. It was so funny about Fantasy Island. Oh, my God. My future in-laws were friends with the director, and they talked him into hiring me to be on Fantasy Island, and I was still not married at the time, and so they set me up. So I got this part. I guess I was such a good actress that they made me a deaf mute. They rewrote the part to be a deaf mute.
No.
Yeah, I swear to God.
That's hilarious. So how do you not get offended?
I know. That was sad. I didn't care. It was like, I'm getting, my $500 or whatever it was going to be for, and I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, in the beginning I had lines, and then later I show up on this set and they go, oh, we've cut these lines. You're now just deaf and.
Oh my God!
Oh my God. So,
now, minute we talked about Canon Films, and I could never say this name. Global. They were these Israeli guys who made these movies, which
Globus.
later turned into New World Pictures. Is that right? Were they Crown Pictures?
So God, I can't even tell you. And I did a documentary about Canon not long ago, and I was in it. And I think they became New World, but was that before Roger Corman took over New World?
I don't know, because New World is who put out
every week.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the movie.
Yeah, they were the distributor. Sadly, they were the distributor.
Why sadly?
Because they went bankrupt the day that the film was released in theaters.
Oh,
God.
My
the day.
gosh.
And so it was going to be released in, I can't remember the number, but like
Wide
32,000 theaters.
Yeah.
And instead that day, boom, it was released in 320 theaters in New York, LA,
I remember
Francisco.
it in New York.
Uh-huh.
It was only in major places. A few theaters, it was too late. They ran it like that day, but then they pulled it because when a studio that's giving theaters movies disappears, there's no reason for the theater to keep that film running in the theater because they're not going to get any more from them. They kind of buy it and like
a subscription.
Go out and they bid for it and everything,
Yeah.
almost like a subscription. So there was no reason to continue running the movie. It could have run a day or two.
Yeah.
But then it was #1 in New York. I mean, over Gorillas in the Mist, which was a pretty big picture,
Right, right.
Not similar, they're
But gorillas don't have tits.
No,
Exactly.
not like those
Well, they
anyway.
Not like
do,
those,
but,
right.
Hairier than mine. But anyway, it was huge, but you couldn't be Star Wars.
Right.
And
In
be
300,
a hit
yeah.
in 300 theaters.
Right,
So,
right.
it always sounds like sour grapes, but that's what happened. It just went boom down the.
I remember it in New York City, though. It was huge.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it. The buzz was
But
there.
the thing is, Gorillas in the Mist is not a movie that we quote every day.
No.
And it's
That's
not
true.
become... but can you quote anything from Gorillas in the Mist?
Yeah, I can. Sorry,
That's it.
That's the one line I remember.
Yes, it just sticks out.
I think almost immediately, I feel like it was on the radar immediately. I don't remember when I saw the movie first, but it was already Star Wars in my head, in my mind. I never knew
Did
it.
it turn you gay?
It did. It turned me gay.
I had a guy come just this past week in wherever I was, New Jersey, and he wore a T-shirt that said, "Elvira made me gay." And it's so funny. I get more stories from gay men saying, people say, like they had my pictures and my poster up in the room, and that's when you either knew you wanted to be me or do me.
Yeah,
and you decided, oh, what's going on? Am I
Right.
straight or gay? And it's it's really weird. It's kind of, so many men tell me this. It's almost like a rite of passage.
Well,
and a lot of them though thanked me because they say, my parents were so happy that I had your poster hanging, and they thought, oh, thank God he's straight.
There's hope.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's a classic fish out of water movie, and the format of it is. And so I think that many gay people or outsiders really are attracted to it because it's really tells the story of all of us, really, because it's through humor and it's through sarcasm that we're able to cope with the mundane hypocrisy
Of being different.
And of living with ordinary everyday people who have no humor in their lives. So you have to make your own. So every gay person I ever know loves that movie for that reason. And not just gay person, but outsider. Michelle's also
kind of misfit. I really, really somehow relate to, anybody who feels that they're kind of outside the, not fitting in with the crowd. and all
Right.
that.
Right.
Really, it's amazingly interesting how many people come up to me and go, when I was a kid and I saw your movie, I suddenly felt like I had some power, like I was going to be okay, like I was.
What a treat.
And I know that hearing that, it's a treat for me. I never planned that or thought about it,
How
but
special.
it is special. I mean, when people come up to me and say that, I get a little verklempt.
Yeah, and you should, because it is a very special movie. I honestly do not know how many times I've seen it.
Well, we used to have it on loop in the dressing room.
In the dressing room, it just it was on loop. It would just never stop because we would have the sound down.
Yeah,
and we knew the dialogue.
Yeah, we knew it all. We were getting our makeup and hair done.
You lip sync to it. Right?
Yes,
we could.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the movie came out in 1988. Is that right?
Right.
Now, did you get to make any money off of it?
I got to make what I was paid to write it, produce it, and star in it. I got that money, but never, of course, saw a penny on the other end.
Even with VHS sales and all that stuff.
Nope, because it wasn't owned by me. It was owned by NBC, and then New World, and New World sold the video rights to another video company, and so I get no money from it ever at all, which is kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer.
So then we go and tell people to download it illegally.
Well,
yes.
Have you ever seen it dubbed in Spanish?
Yes, I've seen it dubbed in all kinds of languages: Japanese, Chinese, Spanish, Russian, Romanian. Oh my God, yeah, I've seen it because I traveled around promoting it.
Yeah.
When it first came out all over the country, and I got to go to these screenings and see it like in French and Italian. And it's funny, like in French, it did not translate somehow. I don't know. They love Jerry Lewis over there. They did not get that. I don't know. But it was like so dead in the theater, and I mean, I couldn't understand. Well, I knew the lines, so I sort of got it. But in Italian, and I do speak Italian, and I went there when they dubbed that people were laughing nonstop, and I could see that the lines they got it.
Well, lost in translation is a real thing.
It is.
Yeah. So,
can you say any of the lines in Italian? Can you say
no, I've forgotten practically. I mean, let's see. I mean, like what?
Like if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
God, no, because now I'd mix it with Spanish and everything. I couldn't say it the right way.
How did you know
I'd never
Italian?
say it the right-
Did you study it?
No, I didn't study it, and I learned it. I like street language Italian because I was over there singing in a rock group for a year and a half, and
you had to learn it.
I had to learn it, and I didn't go to school for it or anything. I just picked it up.
Immersion's the best way.
How many lives?
That's been like 400 years ago, but I still can have a conversation with someone in Italian.
How many lives have you
Terrible.
led? Cassandra, how many lives have you led?
100. I'm on my. I hope I'm not on my 9th.
Because so there was a Vegas life, there was a Kansas life, there's an Italian life, there's a Hollywood life, there's the gay life, there's the
Elvira life,
there's the stoner life.
God, I wish I was around for that.
Oh
one.
my God, there's the living in the tree, the Gorillas in the Mist
there's
life.
The Tom Jones that we haven't spoken about.
There's the Tom Jones life.
And the Elvis life. You forgot.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Elvis. How did you meet Elvis?
When I was a showgirl, he came to see that show. It really was the hot ticket in town. So all the celebrities, same way I met Tom Jones, they come and see the show. And after the show, we were invited to go back to his hotel. It sounds really smarmy, but he was having a big party.
Sure,
with
at the Hilton,
like in his
tons of
suite.
People.
Yeah,
it was called the International Hotel.
Oh yeah, the International, right?
And it is the Hilton now, I guess. And so I was invited. I got to go along with a friend who was dating his road manager, Joe Esposito, and I got to go along and I was just, I was sitting there. Oh my God, I'll see Elvis. I was losing it because I was a huge Elvis fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with one of those freaky. My parents were like giant Elvis fans. It's like those people in documentaries who have shrines of Elvis in their basement. That's sort of what I grew up with.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird I became Elvira from Elvis, isn't it? Because I didn't pick the name.
No, you really are, because you've projected a life for yourself into the world, and it's stuck. The world said, okay.
Really
that's
bizarre.
exactly what it is. You are. That's why anything you decide you want to do in this life, you'll do it and it will work. And that's why this book, I don't know, it's interesting. We should hold a seance to figure out what is blocking this book. And you're saying it's your daughter, it's your mother, which I want to talk about later. But it's interesting that has sort of not come out because it needs to come out.
I know. I should just, I've got to really.
You've got so many stories in you that.
And I think people will relate to these stories even and know that you were like kind of an idiot. You know, I mean, a lot of it's sleeping around with a lot of people, and
we can all relate to
famous people. Yes,
which brings us back to Tom Jones.
Yeah, and Elvis, which you're going to finish that story.
Yes, and a lot of others later on. And you know, I guess everybody sleeps with a lot of people. I happen to sleep with a lot of famous people. It was really odd. I don't know how or why. I was just attracted to them. And
didn't help the fact that you're a fox yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
It was pretty hot back in the day.
No, so you go to Elvis's party, and he says, "Give me the redhead over there."
Well, he was hanging out there talking to people, and he kind of made his way, but I'm just sitting there like dying, just being in the same room. And he made his way over and he started talking to me. And, you know, I figure out years later, well, you know, with him and Priscilla, how old was she when they
14.
started? Yeah. And so he had to wait until she was like 18 before they got married.
He had to do something.
I was there. I was 17. Everybody else there was, I think, in their 30s, 40s, you know.
He liked him young,
age.
honey.
And he just like, you know, glommed in on me. And we started talking about everything, talking about where I grew up, what do I do? He's showing me all these things. He has like this belt he got from the president. I guess it was from Nixon or something. We're talking about music. We're talking about numerology and different religions. We're just like blah, 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 talking all night.
What was he like? I mean, was he
was
a sweet person?
Sweet.
Was
naive,
he big
very
on
naive.
himself? Did he act like he knew he was Elvis?
No, he did not seem like he had an ego. He seemed super naive for his age. There was the period of when he was doing that TV show, that Steve Binder television show where he appeared in the black leather.
Oh, yeah. That was his return, his big return, yeah.
And he was sort of breaking up with Priscilla at that time. I think he must have been in early 30s, maybe. I don't know, mid-30s. He was still the skinny,
gorgeous
looking Elvis, you know.
Wow.
But I think he was starved for talking to people. He seemed like, God, I just want to
a regular
have a conversation.
person.
I was just sit here, you know, and I don't know. He did not strike me at all of having any ego. Just he seemed a little really naive for being his age. You know, he'd say things that
It's
really,
just sheltered probably by everybody that kind of.
I think he was kind of just. I mean, think about those people like Judy Garland or like Michael Jackson. You live in a really fake world.
Yeah.
He can't go anywhere. They came to see my show and they cleared the theater out, and it was just him and his little entourage.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So it was a command performance for the king?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And they said in King's Row, it was only him and his little group, like Sonny and Red and Scotty and all these guys. And so there we were in this big theater that held, you know, several hundred people, just performing for this one table of maybe 10 people.
And
the guy couldn't go anywhere, do anything.
No, he couldn't. Yeah. And where did he go from there? So you're at the party. He says, "You over here," and then you saw him over the course of several.
No, it was that one time. He was leaving the next day, and we talked until probably like 10 in the morning or something. And it was so weird. Then they let me go to a hotel room there, but he gave me all this advice about showbiz.
Did he?
Was it good advice?
It was fantastic advice. I always say I was the youngest showgirl in Las Vegas. If it wasn't for Elvis, I would now be the oldest showgirl in Las Vegas. Because I thought I had made it. You know, it's like, showgirl? What?
Yeah.
I'm the pinnacle of show business. And it's what I wanted to do my whole life because I saw the movie Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, one of the
Elvis.
best movies ever.
Speaking about redheads, that's the best movie.
It is. You know, the chemistry between Anne Margaret and him, I've never seen better chemistry between two people on film in my life.
That's
ever.
The best Elvis movie.
I obsessed over that movie.
I just bought it for my daughter.
I was like about 14 or 15 years old, and I obsessed.
And the music was great in it.
The music songs are great.
Oh my God. I can't believe you guys love it.
It's my favorite.
Because then I look back and there I was watching it when I was 15, obsessing about it, and I ended up becoming a showgirl, living in Vegas, meeting Elvis. I actually met Anne Margaret there at that time and have seen her many, many times over the years. But it's sort of like that movie came true.
What do you realize? We're going to take a quick break, but I just want to ask when we come back, and I want you to think about this during the break. Do you realize how much of able to project what you want in this world?
Manifester.
A manifester? Oh, that sounds dirty.
Do I ever?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was just manifesting this morning.
We all do it every once in a while, sweetie.
But you don't answer because I want to ask you
okay.
about that. I want to know if you really understand that. And, anyway, we've got Cassandra Peterson, so many stories, brand new book out. We'll be right back after this.
Don't even get me started on Egyptian cotton.
100.
Shit, I could talk about that for hours. I could do a podcast alone on Egyptian cotton. Some Cleopatra bullshit. Don't even get me started on no King Tut shit.
My goodness, Michelle, I'm in love with my Boll and Branch.
I told you.
Bollandbranch.com has revolutionized my bed game, honey.
Oh, no.
It has. It has. I've spent so much money on sheets over the years in department stores.
Mm-hmm.
The high thread count, the all this craziness. Little did I know, all I had to do was go to Boll and Branch and get the most beautiful, relaxing sheets I've ever had in my whole life.
Don't you hate that? You search all over the world, you finally found them. Here, take my kidney. Just give me those sheets. And then you come home and you're like, oh.
They've made it so easy.
Bollandbranch.com. BOLL and branch.com. I take my fitted sheet, I slap it over my Casper mattress, and I am set for the night.
Hey, girl, hey.
Literally for about half the price of what stores and boutiques would charge you. And here's the cool thing. They're so sure that you're going to fall in love with their sheets that they're going to give you 30 nights to try them out. If you don't love them, send them back. No hassle. And also, if you order right now, they're going to give you $50 off a set of sheets plus free shipping. If you go to bollandbranch.com, use the promo code RU, R-U. And here's the best thing besides the sheets, which is the obvious. Boll and Branch, they don't mess with no sweatshop garbage.
Yeah.
And everything they do is fair trade certified. They're on the up and up, and they donate a portion of their sales to help fight human trafficking. They are good people over there at Boll and Branch.
They're good people. And what's that thing you were saying about Egyptian cotton?
It's a myth.
Is it?
Egyptian cotton ain't from the Sphinx. It ain't from King Tut's spit. Egyptian cotton is a plant that grows in Pakistan and China.
You are kidding
No,
me.
so we all bought the hype.
We all bought the hype.
But Boll and Branch broke it down.
They broke it down, and they have such a great product.
Yeah.
Just go to bollandbranch.com. Offer code RU. We are back with Cassandra Peter, and we've been just going.
I wore that outfit everywhere I went. Black leotards with just
yes,
like a black
we're
turtleneck.
talking about Viva Las
Top,
Vegas.
long-sleeve
It's
top.
one of our favorite
my
movies. Of
God.
course, Cassandra had a liaison with the king, Elvis, and met.
I did
Anne
too.
Margaret.
He just didn't know it.
He just didn't know
Yeah.
it. But you're saying you walked around in that outfit, the dancer outfit that Anne Margaret wears.
did, and sometimes I'd be at a party and I'd go. A song would come on and I'd just start doing this interpretive jazz dancing,
Yeah.
and everybody'd go, "What the
Yeah.
hell is wrong with her?" But I swear to God, I would just break out in this crazy interpretive dance. I don't know.
And
Oh,
I
it was really
love
weird.
when she's like screams, "Ho! Ha!"
Yeah. And the fans blowing.
Oh, the fans blowing. She is they're both
she's
electric
awesome, isn't she?
in this
Yeah.
movie. The
She's been a
songs are
real,
great. Oh my!
What do you call it for me?
Oh, I just love it. So then we talked about
manifesting.
manifesting your life, and you've been able to do that so beautifully. And
I have.
when did you
and
realize
I
you could
know,
do
and
that?
It's not a trick, but it takes time and effort, and I do it all the time. I mean, I'm sure I manifested Elvira. The reason I'm sure when you see the finished book, you'll see my first picture ever taken in a costume.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little orange and black crepe paper number that my mom made. It looked like a princess dress. I have a crown on and a scepter, and guess what? I called myself the Queen of Halloween.
Oh,
So, I
look
mean,
at that.
I think about things and I go, this isn't a mistake.
No.
This isn't, who the hell dresses the Queen of Halloween? You're 5 years old.
Yeah.
You knew
At
it.
what point did you realize you could do that?
Mainly it happened when I was about 30. I lost the part of Ginger on Gilligan's Island remake, and I was beside myself. You can only
The
imagine. what I
remake.
looked.
Who got
Yes.
it on the remake?
Who got it? I don't
This
remember.
girl, my next door neighbor, Judy Nelson, and it never ended up airing. It was
Okay, that's
called,
why we didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called Gilligan's Island versus the Harlem Globetrotters. Now maybe you know why it never.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
God!
Uh-huh.
Why
Yeah.
do they always
So-
work their way into everything? Those Harlem
Yeah.
Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started reading a book, and called Science of the Mind.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of the author, and I'm just
It's not
blanking,
Norman
and I know
Vincent
it's
Peale.
Keep going. I'll
It's,
get to it. I'll Google it.
Science of the Mind.
Science of the Mind, and someone had given me the book, and I started reading a very old book from maybe the 30s or 40s or something.
Right. Is it
And,
Norman
Ernest
Vincent?
Holmes.
Ernest Holmes.
Ernest
Yes,
Holmes.
yes,
Oh my
yes,
God. Oh
yeah.
my God. And honestly, anybody, if you can find those books, I mean, they're really kind of weird and simplified because they're in like old
language. He
1950s
speaks in that.
language
Yeah.
and everything. It's kind of goofy, and it kind of sounds like a religion, but it kind of is a religion, but not
in the
religious,
spooky,
not-
weird way.
No,
yeah.
it's in a very.
It's actually all of his messages
realistic
have
way.
been reinterpreted through all of the books
Right.
from the 70s, all the self-help books in the 70s. It's all rehashed. It's all from
Of
Ernest
him,
Holmes.
it really is.
Yeah.
He's the guy that started it all. There's
Yeah.
a million other people who do it now, but I started realizing that if you think of something and concentrate on it and believe it and vibrate on that realm, that thing will come into your life.
Quantum
Yes.
physics.
That's why you don't want to quantum physics. That's why you don't want to walk around thinking all day, oh, I'm going to get
Exactly.
hit by a bus, I'm going
Right.
to get killed
Cancer,
in a terrorist
yeah.
thing,
That's
I'm
exactly
my
right.
plane's going to crash. The way you vibrate lines up with vibrations, and it's true. It's a science.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not like, oh, I'm just making up this out of
Right.
hooey. But I realized those things, and I started writing things down. Like right before I would have been about 27 then, and had my career really wasn't going well. I didn't have a boyfriend. I was really like just so depressed, living in a really crap hole of an apartment and driving a shitty car. And it was just bad. And I started reading these things. I started writing notes down and sleeping with them under my pillow, reading them the first thing in the morning, reading them last thing before I went to go to bed, closing my eyes and seeing myself, picturing myself in the situation where I'm famous. I have a perfect husband. What do you want in a husband? I wrote down specifically what I wanted, not like, oh, a really cool guy with
Right.
blonde hair,
Yeah.
but specifically how I wanted him to treat me, how I wanted to be, what kind of job I wanted, where I saw myself working. And I kept thinking and thinking of that. And by the time I was 30, all those things
Right.
had
Yeah, because you
had
said you're
come
on your
true.
honeymoon at 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the
Wow.
Elvira thing happened at the same time. And that was kind of the low point of my life and my career. I just didn't know where I wanted to go. And my broke to have a bad breakup and was so depressed. And,
Well, Saturn returns around that time, 27, 28, leading up to 28, which is when Saturn returns, is that point in a person's life where it is the darkest.
like 7-year cycles,
Yes,
right? Yep, yep.
exactly. So that would make sense. But it's interesting that most people aren't willing to accept that knowledge. Most people are actually afraid of their power.
Especially in their
They
20s.
are.
young
And,
people,
it
yeah.
doesn't happen immediately. It's not like, oh, I'm going to think really hard
Right.
of an elephant here in
Yeah.
the room. And it happens, because, oh, my God, imagine what would go on.
Yeah.
But it's your basic mindset, you thinking these thoughts.
Your
and-
frequency, your vibrational frequency.
Exactly.
Thoughts
And
become
You know
things.
that.
Thoughts become
Exactly,
things.
Exactly. And that's one of his main lines. And I write quite a bit about that in my book. I mean, there's a chapter where I really do say things like Las Vegas. Okay, I see Viva Las Vegas. I become obsessed about it. Now, I didn't know I could manifest anything there. Come on. 3 years later, I'm this little girl
From
living
Kansas.
from Kansas, and suddenly I'm in Las Vegas. I'm a showgirl. I'm only 17. I'm meeting Elvis.
Yeah.
And
That's a
I'm
dream.
in a show called Viva La Girls.
Exactly.
Hello. Is that all just coincidental?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't need a brick to fall on your head.
No. Oh my God.
But no, I've known so many people who are great, talented, who have it all, but they are mired in the negativity, and they're never able to manifest what they say they want, but they're not putting any action into it.
Right. Yeah, happens so often. And those are the people who say, oh, I know so many more people more talented than me, more beautiful, more this or that. Well, why aren't they famous? It's like your mind and your thoughts. And I'm certainly not the most beautiful or talented person that could have been, Elvira. It's just that it's how you think, how you
made it
vibrate and
happen.
what you think
You
about
made
it.
it happen.
So now, I asked you this before. Is there any thought, perhaps, that your daughter would take up the family business
Is she
and
interested?
become Elvira?
I do not think so. She's
Was she
she's,
like?
I
What
mean,
is she
she's a
like?
beautiful girl.
You know what? I
But
met her. I went to
What's she
I went to a party for Giorgio Moroder at the Roosevelt Hotel, and I was walking up to, it's on the roof, and I was like, and in the lobby, a girl stopped me, and she said, "Hey, Ru, I was," and she said, "I'm
Sadie.
Cassandra."
Sadie, right?
It's
Sadie.
Sadie or Sophie. I'm Cassandra Peterson, and I went, "What?" Ooh! And I of course, I became this fangirl because I wanted to know what it was like to be Cassandra Peterson's
And does she get
daughter.
involved in it, the whole Elvira thing, or is she not caught up?
Really,
Yeah.
you know.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a way of a young girl trying to separate from their mom, you know. And I think she appreciates what I do, and she really likes it. Like, she helped with this book so much. Oh my God. Copy-wise, she's very, very, very smart.
And I'm sure she thinks it's cool.
Really artistic. Yeah. And she has a great sense of just art, design, music, but she wants to be a musician really bad. And she's a wonderful guitar player and has a beautiful singing voice. And so she's just into being
singer-songwriter. Love that.
And she's, that's what she wants to do.
Give her the book, The Science of the Mind. Does she know about that?
I cannot talk her into that. She just goes like, "Oh, Mom, it's with your mom." Oh yeah,
because she's hearing it from her mother.
I might start witchcraft spells too while you're at it. I mean, she's just like.
Is that being called pragmatic? Is that what that is?
Pragmatic behavior?
Is that what she's describing?
I don't know.
Because what? Because is she skeptical of that kind of California woo woo?
Yes, she's very much more like science. I keep telling her it is a science. Yeah. She's like,
but it's also a daughter. I have two daughters.
Oh,
and
so
it's also I completely know they're 14 and 16. It doesn't matter who you are, what you like. Madonna's daughter is the same way. To them, we're mom,
right?
So they don't care what, I hate to say it, especially once they hit teenage years. They don't care what we have to say because they're going to want to do it on their own.
But there is a time when that turns around.
Someday maybe that'll come back.
But that does turn around. Was there a time for you when you with your mother where you thought, "Oh my God, she was so right. I really dig my mother."
No.
Right.
Sorry,
hasn't happened.
No, I mean, not that I don't really dig my mother. She's my mother, but my mother and I were like two heads butting from the day we met, and we just we can't agree on anything.
Well, see, then I would think that you'd want to put that book out,
Well,
to rebel.
Yeah, just to rebel. I was the ultimate rebelling child. I mean, what I put my mom and my dad through was like
how many
insane,
kids were there?
Three daughters, I had two younger sisters.
Wow. 3 girls.
And when you became Elvira and really a legend, what was your two sisters? What was their take on that?
This is sad to say. Angry, jealous. Why you? Why
really?
Not us? Yeah.
Really? Did they want to do the same thing?
No. No. It's sad to say. Both my sisters have serious drug and alcohol issues. One already died on an overdose of drugs, and one is in a very, very bad shape.
Yeah.
So sadly, no. They were in a different. They were just. Well, different world.
Yeah.
Different world. I'm like out there. I'm super. I don't know. I've always been really career oriented. Really like
something else is driving you.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but. I rebelled and moved out of my parents' house when I was 14.
What? Where'd you go?
I went and moved in with a girlfriend, a fellow go-go dancer. I was a go-go dancer.
At 14?
Yeah.
Hot.
And you got hired at 14?
Yeah. I looked so much older.
That's right.
Yeah, and I had a fake ID. And,
of course you did.
And that's how, and I just...
all good
I
girls
traveled
do.
around, driving around. I didn't have a driver's license. I was 14. I was driving to I don't know, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Norfolk, Nebraska, and South Dakota to dance, and
that is so
it was
hot.
Ridiculous.
Honestly, we're going to wrap this up, but
before we do,
yeah,
I need to get some Tom Jones story in here.
Oh,
you want Tom Jones story?
Because I want to know. I want to know.
I have so many stories.
Ask Howard Stern.
If you're going to get
in a nutshell.
if you're going to get Tom Jones' story, I just want to bring up one little fact about go-go dancing and Viva Las Vegas. If you look closely in the scene where they're in yellow, she's in the yellow dress in the club.
I remember exactly.
You can see Terry Garr is one of the dancers.
No way!
Yeah,
that's how she started out.
She was a go-go dancer,
and then she was on. Wasn't she on?
Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, and that and Laugh-In, wasn't she on Laugh-In?
Goldie
too?
Hawn was on
No, I know Goldie Hawn. But
Was
yeah,
Terry
Terry
Garr
Garr
also
was a dancer on there too. Yeah,
I
I met her
love-
years ago, and she talked a lot
woman.
about dancing.
All right, so
She's
okay, we're going to
amazing.
wrap it up, but we're going to
Yes,
get one
okay.
Tom
Just
Jones
quick
story
Tom
because
Jones. I just wanna know-
love
So
Tom
Tom
Jones.
I
Jones-
mean,
Oh,
who doesn't?
the
So I went and saw him on the
sexy.
show, and then I went backstage. Somehow I got there, and then I ended up with Tom Jones, and then it ended up being the first guy I really slept with. I sort of
Really?
had slept with somebody else, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I ended up sleeping with him, and then it was not good. It was not a good experience because I got some kind of injury, and I ended up at the hospital.
So
Huh.
Some kind of vagina injury.
Yeah.
so
Yes,
the
it
so
was
the
amazing.
legend is true.
Well, it was for me. Now, somebody else, like Mamie Van Dorn, somebody said, "Oh, he wasn't that big," and I go, "Well, it depends. It's like a garage. If you've been parking
yes,
Greyhound
that's
buses
true.
in there
Yeah.
you know,
That is
for 20
true.
years,
Yeah.
I was just, this
Sure.
is my first real."
Straight off the farm.
Yeah,
Yours
yeah.
was-
exactly.
yours-
So I
yeah.
was like, to me, it was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
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 So,
So that's good to know that because there's been stories and about stuffing the pants. and-
Uh-huh.
well,
you
it
know.
was. I'm from my perspective. No,
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
Fantastic!
anyway.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Wow.
Cassandra, you're my
Read-
hero
read
more than I
all
ever
about it in the
knew.
book. Read
I
about it in the
will.
book.
All about it in the
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Your autobiography has to come out soon. In the meantime, we've got the Elvira coffin table book, which
Yes.
is called Mistress of the Dark. It's available everywhere. You got your candy bar, you got the T-shirts,
Starting
you got
October 5th.
October 5th,
right.
and then now Knott's Berry Farm. Before we go, what's happening with that? Are you still there?
I'm not supposed to say.
Oh,
because, yeah.
okay,
I'm not
yeah.
supposed to say.
But
so.
yeah, we won't say. But if you want to find Elvira, you can. It's easy. And her
Elvira.com.
Twitter,
Elvira.com.
Yeah.
and the Twitter
Everything's
is
on there.
the real
Elvira.
At
Elvira.
the real
Yes.
Elvira, because there are
Yeah.
a lot of at the fake Elvira.
Sure. Yes. You have just been a fabulous guest. I could just
Yeah.
talk to you forever.
Oh my
I'm sure the
God.
stories.
So good.
Then I wouldn't have to write my book.
Well, but you have
You
to.
do.
You have to write it as a
God.
service to not just the world, but as
us fans
us
too.
fans, and you've
and
got
drag
it.
queens.
And for everybody, but also this idea of being able to manifest your life, which you've done
It's
very
important to share.
well. And it's
Yeah,
important
thank
to show
you.
people how it can be done. You've done
Thank
a
you.
great job.
Thank you. I think that might be the most important part about writing the book, honestly, because
Mhm.
I don't know that people really realize that.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
I agree.
Well, your life is a living witness to that.
Yes.
So
There you go. And
thank
yours
you.
too.
Well, I mean, absolutely,
And yours too.
absolutely.
We're still manifesting,
Still
honey. We ain't gonna
manifesting.
stop.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, guys, until next time, thank you, Elvira
Thank you so
Cassandra
much.
Peterson.
Thank you so
Super fun.
much.
Well, bye.
Bye, baby. Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.